A recent report released by one of the local banks indicates that Guyana's inflation rate for the first 3 months of 2022 stood at 1.7%. The report further outlined a projected inflation rate of 4.1% according to the budget. Although the potential increase equates to approximately $4 being added onto the cost of basic commodities in the local market, economist ELSON shares the firm view that the inflation rates included in the said report do not adequately reflect the reality of what is happening. During a sit-down with the Untitled News on Thursday, Lowe said that he suspects that the country's inflation rate incurred during the first quarter of the year might be higher. Contextually, he said that developed countries, including the United States, are experiencing surging inflation rates, and considering how the supply chain works, there's a high chance of Guyana being impacted.
We just saw an inflation rate come out of the US. This is an inflation rate, an annual inflation rate, and that has indicated 9.1% inflation. So that is a very substantial amount of inflation. Actually, it's the highest that we've seen in the developed world. The UK has also recorded 9.1%. So, by the time we look at the December number, it is highly unlikely that we'll see 4%, whereas the rest of the world is seeing these high numbers. That's I think very unrealistic. And so I would expect inflation to be more in line around the 9% mark.
Locally, supply chain problems and inflation are affecting virtually every commodity that the populace consumes, from vegetable to freshly produced fruits in the markets, resulting in a strain on the pockets of citizens who are at the lower end of the income scale. According to Lowe, government has taken unimpactful measures to alleviate challenges Guyanese face as a result of the rising cost of living. He listed a number of steps he believes can be taken to reduce the impact of this new reality.
60,000 minimum wage, we don't think that is enough. We think that should be brought up, and we'll continue to review how high we need to move that minimum wage. It is still not as high as the public sector minimum wage, and the two need to at least be resembling each other. That's the first thing. The second thing is that we've talked about various other measures that can be taken to bring food costs down. One being supplying farmers and so on with grants so that they can buy machinery, so that they can increase their output and lower their costs that way, economies of scale. We also have called for some vouchers for minibus drivers and for canter operators. And
Minister within the Office of the President with responsibility for finance, Dr. ASHNI SINGH, during an interview with Untitled News, said that government is monitoring the rising cost of living and its impact on the pockets of ordinary Guyanese. He reminded of several interventions already taken by the government to aid citizens in coping with the high cost of living situation, but did not announce any additional steps to be taken in the near future.
And as the situation evolves, we will take appropriate measures as the circumstances evolve. The reality is that there are certain global factors that we have very little control over. So we have to use the policy instruments that are at our disposal to address those aspects that we have the leverage or room to address, things like domestic food production, etc.
Tamika Rodner reporting for the HGP Nightly News.